YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I have a mid bald fade on some tight curly hair. I hope you enjoy. To start this haircut off, we're going to come in and comb the hair down in its natural direction and follow that up with the 1.5 guard on the wall senior. Making sure to go with the hair growth pattern to remove some of the weight. Now following it up using the MDIS Super ZR, setting in our bald guideline, just under the C-cup area, keeping it horizontal and lowering it towards the back, following the client's head shape. Using a comb to brush away the excess hair underneath and make sure that you get everything. Now coming in with our lever open, setting in 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch guideline, trying to keep this guideline as consistent as possible. This is so key. Using that C motion so that you don't set too harsh a lines, but making sure that the lines are clear. Now we're going to close the lever halfway to soften that lower line, and then we're fully going to close the lever until that lower line is completely removed. You may have to open and close your lever for this part. Don't be afraid to use your corners and the full blade in this part, just so you get rid of those dark spots. Now coming in with a 1 guard open, setting about an inch guideline from the back of the head to the vertical bars. Trying to keep this as consistent as possible. As you can see, I'm using a brush, but I wish I changed over to a comb, and you'll see in a minute that I do. There we go, change into a comb. The reason for this is so that you can stop the hair clumping together. A bit like when we were removing the lower line, I'm going to close the guard halfway, soften the middle line, and then close it fully until the middle line is completely out. But don't be worried, but this will not remove the middle line completely, because you need to follow it up with a 0.5 guard. Here's that 0.5 guard I was talking about. So be sure not to take too big of strokes, you will create lines above that. Again, open and close the clipper where needed. Be sure to comb the hair regularly to stop the hair from clumping. Here, this is a lot of detail work, so I use a lot of your corners of your clipper and just focusing on points that are just a bit dark within the haircut. And now I'm taking that 0.5 guard off and just using the lever open and close and using a lot of the corners of the blade. Now we're coming in the 1.5 guard open to soften the weight of the contour. As you can see, it's a little bit dark, but keep going over with this guard and that should soften it up. And if you still feel like it's dark, follow up with a lower guard but go with the grain. As you can see, I'm going with the grain here. Like I was saying earlier, I'm now using a smaller guard. This is a 1 guard open and I'm going with the grain to soften the weight. I felt like it was still dark towards that hairline area, so I'm really detailing this part. There's a good angle of the fade, it's coming together nicely, but as you can see, it still needs detail work. This is what sets you apart from the rest, and it is so important. Using a lot of my corners, different guards, and getting in all those areas that I'm just not quite happy with. Still coming in and detailing. As you can see, I'm using the corner clipper and combing after every stroke. We're now moving on to the next side, and I'm going to let you follow the steps. They're the same as before, and I'll jump in a little while. If you guys haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know when I next upload. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and you can find me at Timbracehair. Cheese and bread. You can see that blend coming together nicely. For those of you that don't know, cheese and bread is a little term that I've come up with and it means, wow, nice haircut. It's all in the detail work. I can't tell you enough how important it is. This is what sets you apart from the rest. Now coming onto the back, we're setting our guideline in with our Andes ZR and following the client's head shape, making sure not to go too high but keeping it as consistent as possible. Remember to brush down with the comb to remove the excess hair so we have a clean surface. Cleaning off the excess hair, keeping our canvas clean, following that up with the lever open. We're going a bit higher in the back because the hair tends to be a bit thicker, but again keeping it as consistent as possible. As you can see, we moved that bottom line straight away by closing the lever halfway and then following up with the lever closed. We're now coming in with the one guard open and we're going up a full inch. Keep going over to make sure that the hair is all the same length and keeping it as consistent as possible, while remembering to comb the hair down so the hair does not clump together. Sorry, I didn't slow it down. We're softening the middle line by closing the lever slightly. As you can see right here, we're going to open and close that lever as we go. But remember, this will not remove that middle line because that middle line will be taken out by the 0.5 guard. Making sure to keep the C motion. Now coming in the 0.5 guard and flicking that middle line out. Open the lever as you go higher, trying not to create any more lines, but don't be worried if you do because you can use a different guard to get it out. As you can see, we're detailing this area, using a lot of our corners and combing after every clipper stroke. We're now coming in with no guard, and this is more detail work, and we're just fine tuning that lower line. We're now following up with the 1.5 guard to soften the weight at the top, remembering to close the lever where needed. If this still seems a bit dark, don't worry, just follow up with the one guard open and that should clear it right up. As seen here, I'm following up with the one guard just to clean up some dark areas. Going all different kinds of direction with the clipper to get it as consistent as possible. We're now going to prepare the hair on top for the shape up, so I'm using a hairdryer and a soft brush to get the hair laying flat on top so that it allows us to cut any overlaying hairs on the front. We're now coming in the 1.5 guard to lay the hairline down. Now coming in for Andes Inline Pro, starting in the middle and working our way across to each corners. Making sure to keep this as natural as possible and try not to push them back. Now coming in doing the vertical bars, again keeping it as natural as possible. Using the clippers here freehand just to get some overlaying hairs. Don't be afraid to go over it a few times to get as crisp as possible. Again starting in the middle and following our work. Now moving over to the other side and keeping it as straight as possible. Now coming in the other vertical bar, following the natural hairline, getting rid of any flyaways. Now coming into the enhancements. When doing enhancements, make sure not to do much and keep it looking as natural as possible. The card I'm using here is a Sean Cutts hair and it makes using enhancements so much easier. Now following it up with a slimline to get rid of any flyaways and get rid of any hair fibres that might be stuck on the head. Now following up with a cutthroat, this is a vital step. Making sure to hold the cutthroat at a 45-degree angle so that you do not have any chance of cutting the client. Look at what a difference that cutthroat makes. Making sure to finish the haircut off with a freehand trim. You can use scissors or you can use clippers, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So here's a little recap of what his hair looked like before. Cheese and bread. Here's the after. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe, turn on post notifications and share this around.